So, the Indiana Fever just signed somebody. I'm kind of surprised the Indiana Fever signed somebody, like, today. So, they signed someone to a 7-day contract, which means, did they waive somebody? Did the Fever not have to waive somebody to do that? Which means somebody's probably getting waived.
The moment everyone feared but deep down expected has finally arrived. The Indiana Fever are openly shopping for Caitlin Clark replacements, not even bothering to keep it under wraps. Let's be real, Indiana clearly knows something the rest of us don't.
Other point guard. And my brain goes two different ways on this. Either one, the Fever weren't so happy with Odyssey Sims' performance in her first game with the Indiana Fever. And I think a lot of fans were underwhelmed. However, Odyssey Sims had a high bar to clear because Aerie McDonald, when she came to the Indiana Fever, she immediately made an impact and played great right away. Odyssey Sims did not have a great game in that last game whatsoever. And so are they signing her to challenge Odyssey Sims and see who plays better? Or are they signing her because they know that Caitlin Clark is not going to be returning this season and they're going to need another point guard for this last stretch of games and going into playoffs? We'll just have.
In just 1 week, they've brought in not one, but 2 point guards. First was Odyssey Sims on a hardship contract end. If that isn't front office code, for we're in serious trouble. I don't know what is.
Let's get into this. The Indiana Fever welcome Kyra Lambert to the team. Another point guard with Sydney out, with Aerie out, with Caitlin Clark's return. Who the heck knows at this point? We need some point guards on this team. Odyssey Sims, she played this past Tuesday. Looked like she haven't picked up a basketball in months. Now we go out and get Kyra Lambert.
And just a few days later, they added Kyra Lambert on a 7-day deal. 2 point guards in quick succession, 2 desperate swings, and 1 undeniable truth. They're bracing for life without Caitlin Clark and clearly don't expect her back anytime soon.
Lambert has never played in the WNBA before, yet the Fever did have room to add another player on a hardship deal. So Lambert, it was announced by the team, has been brought in. This is what the press release itself says, so I'll let them set the context for you. The Indiana Fever have signed guard Kyra Lambert to a 7-day contract the team announced today. The Fever qualify for the roster spot due to the injuries to Sydney Colson and Aerie McDonald. Lambert has spent the entirety of her professional career playing in Europe, most recently with Olympiacos, where she won the Greek A1 League. During that season, Lambert averaged 15.4 points per game while shooting 42.1% from beyond the arc. Good.
If you're enjoying this, make sure to subscribe. Now, here's the harsh reality nobody wants to put into words. Caitlin Clark has already missed 21 games this season. 21. That's not a small hiccup. That's a body sending warning, signs she can't ignore. It started on opening night with a quad strain, then came the left groin injury, and now a right groin setback that's left her stuck on the bench. Watching like a bystander at what feels like the slow decline of her own career.
They have signed a player from overseas in shocking development. Now, they had no European players on the team, and looked like the Indiana Fever new player did speak to the media earlier today. We got some of that footage. Let's roll
this opportunity that be coming for you.
Officially Monday. Yeah, Monday, so it was a pretty quick turnaround.
Take me through the emotions of that day, knowing that this was coming your way and that you'd have a chance to play on a team that might need you to play right away.
Yeah, no, I was super excited. It's a blessing, having the journey that I've had and just, remaining faithful, trusting God and doing the work, and just to see it all come back around and have this opportunity is awesome.
And here's the shocking part before this season. Caitlin Clark had never missed a single game in her college or pro career. Not once. She was basketball's Iron Woman, the player you could always count on. Now, she's racking up injuries. Like trading cards, each one more concerning than the last. The official word from Coach Stephanie White, *, we're taking it day to day, putting no timetable on it. Translation, they have no clue when or if she return at full strength. White even admitted, Clark still hasn't practiced. Limited to full court running, like someone rehabbing from major surgery.
As Caitlin Clark fans, this is a nasty position to be in. We're dealing with the Indiana Fever telling us that Caitlin Clark is day to day, and we know the Indiana Fevers, Amber Cox, Kelly Crosskoff, Stephanie White are all liars. We can't believe anything the Indiana Fever say, and we know that. So we have the Fever saying Caitlin Clark is day-to-day.
Want to know just how bad things have gotten? Let's look at the numbers because they paint a picture uglier than any injury report. Since Clark went down, WNBA viewership has cratered 55%. The Fever's national TV ratings alone have sunk 53%. Games that once drew 1.8 million viewers are now struggling to scrape together 847,000, and it's not just TV taking the hit. Ticket prices for Fever road games have collapsed anywhere from 47% to 71%, depending on the opponent. Take the Chicago Sky matchup, hyped as a marquee showdown before Clark's injury. Tickets averaged $86. Afterward, just $25. That's not a slump. That's a nosedive straight off a financial cliff.
Clark's injury is tanking WNBA ticket prices. The star Indiana Fever guard suffered a quad injury and is expected to miss at least 2 weeks. This comes on the heels of the WNBA and other teams moving games into larger arenas to accommodate Caitlin's fans. And as sports fans, I think we all know that Caitlin Clark is the most popular women's basketball player. In fact, she might be one of the most popular female athletes in the entire world. Ever since she burst into the national consciousness, women's basketball has experienced a rise in popularity. But is it Caitlin? Or is it women's basketball? Per Front Office Sports, get-in tickets for the Fever's rivalry game against the Chicago Sky on June 7th are down 71% from $86 to $25.
Even the WNBA All-Star Game, held right in Clark's backyard of Indianapolis, couldn't escape the fallout. Ratings plunged 35% without her. Sure, 2.19 million viewers is solid, but it's nowhere near the 3.44 million who tuned in when Clark suited up the year before. The league tried to spin it as the Asterix second most watched All-Star game ever, but notice how they compared it to 2023, not 2024. Why? Because admitting the real drop would make it impossible to ignore the truth. This entire league is riding on the shoulders of one injured player.
35%. WNBA ratings down, All-Star game 35% than last year. Yet you're telling me that it doesn't have to do with Caitlin. 35%. It really makes it difficult for fans of the WNBA in general and Caitlin Clark, like myself, to have conversations, to join a Discord, just to I don't know, want to just talk up the WNBA in general when you can't even give Caitlin the props that she deserves.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room that almost everyone's avoiding. The referees, then the league's outright failure to protect their biggest star. All season, Clark has been the target of overly physical play that would make even NBA veterans wince. She's been fouled 46 times, the third most in the league. But here's the stat that really exposes the problem. Out of 30 flagrant fouls called league-wide, 5 have been against Clark. That's nearly 17% of all flagrants landing on one player out of 144. And it gets worse. The Chicago Sky account for 80% of those, committing 4 of the 5. The most frustrating part, Clark has had to plead her own case, getting into it with referees just to secure basic protection. Cameras even caught her warning referee Michael Price that she'd call the league office. Can you blame her? When you're getting shoved to the floor after dead balls and body-checked like it's hockey, only to see refs wave it off as normal contact, anyone would snap.
The league has fostered a hostile workplace for Caitlin Clark through excessive fouling, targeting, and hostile comments from other players and owners. These aren't isolated, they're documented, continuing, and ignored by officials. The disparity in treatment invites real scrutiny. Not a single player has been suspended for flagrantly fouling Ms. Clark. Here's where he said a federal investigation should take place. Congress and the admin should demand answers from the W, its leaders, investigate officiating and internal league comms, hold hearings, and insist on real reforms. The Labor Department should review league protocols for workplace safety. If evidence shows discrimination or retaliation, the DOJ's Civil Rights Division must act.
This isn't just tough defense, it's been a coordinated campaign to intimidate, wear down, and even risk injuring the league's biggest star. The proof is impossible to ignore. Marina Mabrey blatantly shoved Clark to the floor after a dead ball and walked away with nothing more than a technical. J.C. Sheldon poked her in the eye on a play that somehow got downgraded to a mere flagrant one. Even WNBA legend Candace Parker admitted the obvious. Generational players get targeted, and the scouting report will always be to shut them down physically. But there's a massive difference between playing hard defense and what often looks like outright assault using a basketball as the excuse. When comedians on social media are giving more honest breakdowns than the analysts covering the league, you know something is fundamentally broken.
Ask about people being a little physical with Caitlyn at that, her last game. Do you feel like she's being treated unfairly, in her games and stuff like that?
I think it's definitely star players aren't ever treated fairly.
Is that kind of what you went through? Because you're considered a legend. Is that just kind of normal about being the rookie? Is that part of it?
I think everybody has a different path. So I appreciate you, man.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much.
And now here we are, watching the Fever make moves that reek of emergency planning. First came the conveniently timed season-ending injuries to Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald, opening up just enough roster spots for, you guessed it, more point guards. Then the scramble began. They brought in Odyssey Sims, a 33-year-old veteran who's bounced around the league like a pinball. Sure, she's putting up 9.8 points and 3.5 assists. It's not bad, but let's be real, she's no Caitlin Clark. Nobody is. Still, she's a steady ball handler who can run sets, and right now, that seems to be all Indiana cares about. Then came Kira Lambert, signed on yet another 7-day deal. Another stopgap, another Band-Aid slapped on what's starting to look like a long-term wound. These aren't the moves of a team expecting its superstar back any day now. These are the moves of a franchise quietly bracing for life without her.
Now, I'm not exactly too sure where Kira Lambert is, and I know what your reaction is. Kira Lambert who? Kira Lambert, minus the 2, divide by 3, add 4. Yeah, I didn't know who Kira Lambert was either. Kelly, she better be good. Amber, she better be good. That's all I'm going to say. She better come in and be impactful off the jump. That's all I'm going to say. She needs to at least pass the eye test. Okay, maybe she doesn't have a good game, but can she at least pass the eye test so when I watch her, I'm saying to myself, okay, I can see the vision. I can see where we hope that this is going.
Here's the part that really stinks the way the Fever and the league are handling all of this. Instead of leveling with fans about Clark's condition, they keep hiding behind vague updates and empty phrases. Asterisk, day to day. Asterisk, no timetable, continuing to work with the medical team. Translation, they don't know what's wrong, and they don't know when she's coming back. And let's be honest, if fans were told flat out that Clark wasn't returning this season, the ratings freefall we've already seen would look mild compared to the exodus that would follow. The reality is, Clark hasn't looked like herself all year. Even when she's been on the floor, she's been a shadow of her rookie self, shooting just 36.7% from the field and a brutal 27.9% from 3. On the road, it's even worse. 2/4 35 from deep. That's not just a cold streak. That's a flashing red warning sign that something is seriously wrong.
But she's a 5'9" point guard who averaged 8 points per game in Greece. How shit must Odyssey Sims be? No, man, we're not doing this. Oh. I think we're done. I think we're done, man. I think the season's done. We got the 17th best point guard in EuroLeague.
The WNBA has tied its entire future to one player, and that player's body is betraying her. The new $2.22 billion media rights deal kicking in for 2026. Negotiated on the back of the Caitlin Clark effect, expansion plans, salary hikes, league-wide growth, all of it assumes Clark will stay healthy and dominant for years to come. But what happens if she can't? What happens when the one player carrying an entire league's viewership can't even stay on the court? we're already seeing the answer, and it's not pretty. Yes, non-fever games are up 37% this year, but that still only averages out to 549,000 viewers, a far cry from the millions Clark delivers. This was supposed to be her sophomore leap, her first real step toward WNBA dominance. Instead, she's missed more games than she's thrived in, been at the center of more controversy than celebrations, and looks more drained than driven. Physical toll is obvious. When you're spending more time on a trainer's table than the practice court, when referees seem more focused on optics than player protection, when you're the financial backbone of an entire sport, while also being systematically targeted every night, something has to give. And it has. Her body has broken down. The Iron Woman who never missed games is now a fixture on the injury report. The long-range assassin who redefined the three-point line can't buy a shot. The floor general who elevated everyone around her is now stuck in street clothes watching her team cycle through one replacement after another.
Caitlin Clark's injury is tanking WNBA ticket prices. The star Indiana Fever guard suffered a quad injury and is expected to miss at least 2 weeks. This comes on the heels of the WNBA and other teams moving games into larger arenas to accommodate Caitlin's fans. And as sports fans, I think we all know that Caitlin Clark is the most popular women's basketball player. In fact, she might be one of the most popular female athletes in the entire world. Ever since she burst into the national consciousness, women's basketball has experienced a rise in popularity. But is it Caitlin? Or is it women's basketball? Per Front Office Sports, get-in tickets for the Fever's rivalry game against the Chicago Sky on June 7th are down 71% from $86 to $25.
She doesn't look like a player itching to get back on the floor. She looks like someone coming to terms with the possibility that her body just can't withstand what the WNBA has turned into. A league where being the brightest star means you're also the biggest target. The refs failed her. The relentless physical play wore her down. The systematic targeting broke her body. And now we're all seeing the fallout. The league is scrambling to hold on to viewers while its biggest draw sits in street clothes. The Fever are cycling through replacement players like they're holding auditions, and fans keep getting spoon-fed vague updates and false hope. But once you accept the uncomfortable truth, the Fever's moves make perfect sense. Caitlin Clark isn't coming back not as the player we knew. Deep down, the team, the league, even the fans know it. They're just hoping we keep watching long enough for them to figure out what's next. But hope has an expiration date. And when reality finally hits, we'll look back at these signings as the moment the writing was on the wall. The Caitlin Clark era might be ending before it ever truly had the chance to begin.